Today, I'm taking on the ultimate challenge, building a waste oil heater from a 55-gallon drum before the sun goes down. Sounds simple, right? Well, add in temperatures plummeting to minus 14 degrees Fahrenheit and a minus 30 degree wind chill, and suddenly, this isn't just a build, it's survival. Armed with the YESWELDER DP200 and a pile of random parts, will I be able to pull this off? Probably not, but hey, let's find out.
Okay, this is it, guys. The clock is ticking. I have about 10 hours before the sun goes down, and this project is either gonna keep me warm this winter or we're gonna light up my new workshop. It's Friday right now, the day before the challenge. I haven't done any of this before. But these chimney parts are, I started on it a little bit, and these are gonna be a pain in the butt. Bruh. These things are not snapping together. I figured tonight I just start getting the chimney in place. I'm trying to figure out a spot to put this thing. Water. I was originally gonna put it there, but that's literally right where a big leak is. So I'm thinking I spend most of my time over here. If it fits, I gotta be a certain amount away from combustibles. I got all this information from Menards.
You save big money.
Probably put some links in the description of everything that I have here.
There'll be some Amazon links. If you choose to click on those links and buy that product, I will receive a small commission from that purchase at no extra charge to you.
It's helpful just to have all of the parts for the project that you need in one place. In the links though on Menards, they have an instruction manual basically, and it tells you all the components you need, how to install them in each specific ceiling type, or if you're going through floors, or if you're going through an attic with insulation. Just got up, it's 7. I was supposed to get up at 4:30 to start this, but gotta get the dogs fed and then get some coffee. And while I'm eating breakfast and drinking coffee, I'm gonna go start on these DXFs and nesting. I didn't completely finish the chimney last night. Today is gonna be rough. Ooh, look at my hair. I forgot, in addition to all that stuff I need to do today, I need to go drive like an hour north to Oshkosh to pick up a NEMA stepper motor that will fit my new Z-axis. I don't have a whole lot of time today, and this is gonna make it even more crunch, but more on this to come in another video. So yesterday, like I said, I got started on the chimney, and that's basically what I did. I had to frame out a box, cut out about an inch gap up to the top. There's some codes and stuff with here. That's why I was okay with not showing you guys it, because I know I'm not exactly following all the codes. And if I burn my shop down, that's on me. And I didn't want to be responsible for passing on any information that was not relevant. It's gonna be a little chilly out there. So I got my layers on, and I guess I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet on this. Okay, let's do this. Hope you guys like my ladder. It hasn't been used since the 1800s. I'll take you guys up to see what's going on. My fat ass needs to lose some weight. So basically I need to put a support band on each side of this, just so it's not touching the wall or any combustibles. Ideally it would be 1 inch away from all combustibles, but let's be honest, cutting that hole out was a little bit more work than I anticipated, so about an inch. About an inch is okay. And I just thought there's no way for me to record and use both my hands at the same time, so you guys are gonna have to watch from down there. Okay, we got the brackets on. These brackets are actually supposed to be underneath and secured underneath that way through the 2x4s that support it. But I didn't want to frame out the whole thing. So if I get leaks, I get leaks. But that big rubber boot should be covering all of that. As you can see, if we read the instruction manual, I'm right here, I did that. Use third bracket on the back side, we got that in. Whoops. Here's the graduations. 9.5 to 10.25. So I guess that's where I cut that. With a box cutter? I don't know. Okie dokie. Okay, I got the rubber boot installed. Pretty much just slid it over the top. And I'm like 90% sure this roof is steeper than the maximum steepness of this boot. In order to get it about 3/4 inches down of this like heat shield, I had to scrunch it up. So now I'm gonna have pooling water right about here. And then I silicone underneath and around all the edges. I have to go pick up those stepper motors now. It's currently 10 o'clock. I'm definitely gonna be working into the night. Well, I drove the hour all the way to Oshkosh. Whenever you're doing Facebook Marketplace, it's always half a gamble. Like this time, this was a 8mm shaft. I specifically asked the guy if it was 8mm and he said yes. We get here and turns out it was 6. I just wasted 2 hours of my day.
I might have wasted 2 hours of my day, but you know what would make up for that? Today's video sponsor. And no, I'm actually not joking this time. I've been fortunate enough to be relatively mediocre with YouTube, and in fact, as of me editing this video, I have actually accepted 3 different sponsorships, including today's. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the real sponsors I've had since starting this journey. All of you guys, and maybe 1 or 2 females. So thanks for following along, and I promise I will try my best to keep providing meaningful content. So, without further ado,
This is the YESWELDER DP200, a welder that promises to do everything except make me a sandwich. It can do MIG, TIG, stick, and pulse welding. Usually I've only ever seen that on higher end industrial machines.
Zero spatter.
one of my
Not only that, but it has a dual pulse capability. Perfect for welding aluminum.
Thank you to YesWelder for sending me this extremely capable machine. I look forward to completing many projects with this in the future. And if you guys are looking for an affordable welder with some pretty crazy capabilities at this price point, I encourage you to check these guys out. Now, let's get back to it. Alright, here's what we're working with. One slightly questionable oil drum that may have contained something legally concerning.
Dragonfly, heroin, coke, crack.
Some leftover pipes that I swear had a purpose at one point. But wait, there's more. We've got some fresh CNC plasma cut pieces, a brand new blower motor straight from Amazon, because sometimes it's just easier to buy new. I think that's everything I need, but let's be honest, I'll probably end up making 2 or 3 trips back to the hardware store anyway. We're going to go ahead and set up the DP200. This system is a synergic system, meaning it will automatically adjust the voltage based on the wire feed speed. All I have to do is set up my wire size, gas type, and material thickness. That's it. Super beginner friendly. This weldment is a combination oil bowl / air diffuser to get a cleaner combustion. Pretty much all of this will make sense by the end of the video, so don't get too caught up with the technical aspects because it's really pretty simple once you see the full picture. And let me just say, this welder definitely did not disappoint. There may have been a few operator errors, but at the end of the day, this is a 10x upgrade from my previous welder.
Probably out of wire. I got 2 beads down and yep, completely out of wire. That sucks. Yeah, not getting this done tonight. I got a lot more welding to do. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna head to Harbor Freight, pick up some welding wire, just keep going until I get tired. Damn. I always seem to set the goals a little bit too hefty for myself.
This was my first time trying this technique on my home plasma cutter, and honestly, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Since I don't have a brake press, I had to get creative, so I cut a single line right at the bend point, which let me fold the metal over by hand just using a crescent wrench. It bent surprisingly clean, and once it was in position, I just welded the seam back up to lock it in place. The corner relief I added made things even easier, giving the metal room to fold without fighting me. It's a simple trick, but if you don't have a press brake, this is a solid way to get a nice bend without too much hassle. With the door bent and welded up, the next step was getting it mounted. I tacked the hinges onto the frame first, making sure everything lined up correctly. Then I welded them in place and finally attached the door. A quick test fit and it swung open and closed nice and smooth, so I'll call that a win. With the door done, it was time to make a hole for it in the oil barrel. So I lined it up and traced it out like a professional stencil artist and grabbed the angle grinder. Easy, right? Well, not exactly, because like true DIY fashion, the door obviously didn't fit on the first try. At this point, I had 2 choices. Either pretend it fit and just weld it really aggressively, or do it the right way and trim a little more. The fit was tight. exactly what I wanted. So I went ahead and ground off all the surrounding paint to make sure I got a solid weld. Then I threw down a bunch of tack welds, checking for any gaps, and of course some spots were a little high, but nothing a few weld place hammer smacks couldn't fix. Once everything was sitting right, I fully welded around the frame, sealing it up tight. The door was in, looking solid, and at this point, I had to admit defeat. This wasn't getting finished in one day. Oh well, there's always tomorrow. It's 10 o'clock. I called it a night. Solid 12 hours today. I will have it going tomorrow. I'm gonna have to take it outside to do the first test run to burn all the paint off. See you tomorrow. Good night. My phone froze last night, and the only thing I didn't get recorded was the attachment of this flue collar. Pretty straightforward, just bolted it on using the same exact hinges. I just cut out a few more. And we're back at it. First up, I traced out a spot for what I thought would be a convection blower. Spoiler alert, that didn't go as planned. But hey, it's not all bad news. I'll just have to get a different blower to move some of that warm air around. More on that later. Next, I cut out the opening for the square tubing that'll eventually be part of the heat exchanger. A quick test fit, and it looked solid. Before going any further, I brought the barrel back to my welding station to deal with a slightly important issue. It rocked back and forth like a wobbly table at a cheap diner, so I welded on 3 feet using some leftover square tubing to keep it sturdy. Then I moved on to the oil bowl, or as I like to call it, the combustion air thingy-mabobber. It needed to be elevated off the bottom of the drum, so I cut out some legs out of 1/8" angle iron and welded them on. At this point, I was really regretting cutting everything with an angle grinder. I need to get an Evolution chop saw or maybe even a Harbor Freight bandsaw. Something, because this is just getting old. Finally, I started welding in the rest of the square tubing for the heat exchanger. I ground down the protruding welds to make sure everything fit nice and tight, got all the pieces in place, and then my phone died. Because of course it did. It is about 3 o'clock on the next day. You guys saw me welding that up. My phone actually stopped recording because I didn't have enough storage space. So I've been working on this a little bit too long. I am nearing the end. Should be able to light this thing up pretty soon. Due to the sequence of how I put this together, I wasn't able to weld underneath here on the outside. I was kind of afraid of smoke leaking out, so I tried welding it from the inside.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh. I might have just been better off leaving it. But that low one looks good.
With the heat exchanger welded solid, I moved on to the blower piping. Simple enough. I just had to drill a 1.5-inch hole through the drum. The black part sticking out of the blower, that's a custom coupler I 3D printed using polycarbonate carbon fiber. Because why not mix high tech with redneck engineering? Once the blower pipe was in, I drilled a hole for the oil drip. Except I put it in the wrong spot. I did what any seasoned fabricator would do, ignore my mistake, and drill the new hole. I'll fix the extra one later. Probably. I gave the oil drip coupler a full weld and started attaching the rest of the piping. This included a few black nipples. I'm just gonna leave that one alone. A black pipe tee and a shutoff valve later. And we're in business. Next, I grabbed a stainless steel bucket from Fleet Farm. This is going to be my oil reservoir. I drilled a hole to fit a black pipe coupler and then welded it in place. Which, by the way, was a nightmare because the bucket was thin as hell. But after some gentle persuasion, I got it done. Just in time for my phone to shut off. Again. Classic. Okay, it's currently like minus 10 degrees outside right now. I actually lit this thing up for the first time. It turns out my phone died because it was so cold yesterday. I got the bucket put on there and some oil in, and I took it outside and test fired it to try to burn some of this paint off. The only bad thing was that the blower motor I got, it was so cold that the motor wasn't running. So I put it on, hooked it up, and then it just kind of stalled out until it started warming itself up, and then it finally kicked off. But this thing was burning, man. I was shooting flames out the top like 10 feet high. It was ridiculous. See, this is what I was talking about. It's so cold out, the motor's not even going. Maybe it's just a sucky motor. And yes, I know I shouldn't be sticking my fingers in there. Last time it warmed up after a while, so here's a little sight glass. This thing sucks. I might not even use it, but it's like I'm getting a slow drip. The oil's so thick. Some used motor oil. Can't forget you guys. Come on.
Dude, it's freaking freezing in here. Out here, Jesus Christ. He's just happy to see me. The lighters aren't working. Oh my God. See the oil drip? The oil itself doesn't actually start on fire, it's just the exhaust fumes. Start it up now. This part kind of sucks. It's like dripping. So ideally you'd see like a nice stream in there, but it's just hitting all the sidewalls. Maybe I'm not like completely up and down, or maybe it's the wrong valve up here. She's a little toasty.
And that's where I'm wrapping it up for now. The waste oil heater is mostly together, but there's still some fine tuning to do. Overall though, it's coming together pretty well. If you made it this far, congrats, you have the patience of a saint. Drop a comment if you built one of these before, or if you have any brilliant ideas to make this thing even better. And if you enjoyed watching me fight this project every step of the way, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all the other YouTube stuff. Thanks for watching. See you next time.